Yeah, great team win. I think, just felt great to be back and play back at home. I feel like we've been on the road forever. I know it was only 3 games, but it seemed like a while, just coming into the game. So it was great, great crowd, great atmosphere. Love it when it's Kids Day and we've got our kids can interact with kids after the game, and just a good all-around team win. Really pleased with our defensive effort. We held them to their lowest point total of the season, which was outstanding and certainly a huge key for us. In a perfect world, probably would have liked to have cleaned up the second quarter, but I thought our kids did a great job just overall for the duration.
What did you see improve from the Drake game that you wanted to see them respond to from that game to this one?
It's kind of hard to say to an extent because I think, we were in a possession-for-possession game, at the Drake game, and they had that short run in there where they kind of, put themselves in a position to command the game. And so this game was very different, obviously, than that game. But I do think it was great for us. We haven't seen a ton of zone all year. Obviously, the most zone we saw was against Drake, so this was another good opportunity tonight to go against a little more zone. SIU's been playing more zone as of recently. Typically, had been mostly pressure man-to-man, but they've been mixing in. So I think more than anything, it was just another good opportunity for us to be able to have to execute against the zone without it necessarily just being in practice. So.
And I mean, the zone is something that you need to hit on, just when not very many teams in the league are doing that. And I don't know how you're able to mix that in over the next few weeks before you get to the conference tournament. Just how do you kind of go about that when you want to see that more, but sometimes you don't have that opportunity because of what these other teams are playing?
Yeah, I'm really confident with what we run against the zone. I think our kids are. Certainly, you try to always just be prepared because you never know when teams are going to throw things at you. But a couple teams have tried zone against us this year. We've just handled it really well, and Drake is just one of those teams. That's just what they do. And so regardless if you're handling it well or not, they're going to stay in it regardless, where maybe some other teams, they mix it in to see how it's going to go. And when we've handled it well and we've shot the ball well or we've gotten inside out, whatever the case may be, it's been a situation where it's not necessarily their bread and butter where they just stay in it like Drake does. So, we'll just, the same situation last year, as far as the number of teams that maybe played a zone and maybe Drake did more than other teams. But, I think, I'm confident in what we run, and I think our kids are. It's just, a matter of probably cleaning some things up. And to be honest, our offense was fine. It was defensively that we let them get back in the game. And I think more than anything, we've got to fix that. We commanded the game, for a large portion there, and then we gave up way too many layups. There was a critical stretch there. Cut it to 4 straight times and gave up a layup on the other end. So I know we didn't just play Drake, but so I don't want to get off on that tangent. But I mean, our offense will be fine against the zone. I think it was more than anything. You asking about Drake it was defensively.
Coach, I know you don't like to use the term carrying momentum because you take everything game by game, but these wins, right, where you're supposed to beat a lesser team and you dominate them, how does that confidence kind of resonate through your locker room with the veterans you got and the young players that continue to grow and develop week by week?
Yeah, I mean, no question. I mean, you want to be picking up as much steam and momentum as you can, and that's what you build that off of what you do every day in practice, and then how it translates to games. And so certainly, I think there's a lot of value in that because it's human nature to be confident. That you're more confident with that, and then probably have more of a tendency to play well or be a little more resilient when you are. Carrying a little bit of momentum. So I think it's huge for us down the stretch here. I mean, we talked about it right after the Belmont game. The most important thing was, like always, next game on the schedule, but this is a huge stretch for us to finish out the regular season. And we want to put ourselves in the best position possible heading into the conference tournament. And certainly want to be heading into the conference tournament playing our best basketball this season and with some momentum. So I think I like the fact that we're trending, we've been trending in the right direction.
Looking at this last 5-game stretch, including today, right? I mean, every game you guys certainly can win and win a lot of them in a pretty dominant fashion. Is there anything that worries you that maybe the girls would overlook their opponent, or you guys really hammer home, hey, it is one game at a time, don't overlook anybody?
I mean, I think I always really emphasize one game at a time, and there's a reason you play. If they knew who was going to win, we could just send the score in and move on, but there's a reason you have to put the uniform on, and you got to go out and you got to earn it, every day. And, I think heading into the season, I don't look at like these last 5 games like I always go into it thinking, like, if we do what we're capable of doing, we can win every game on our schedule. So I just feel that way regardless. That it's probably going to be difficult to go unblemished, not to have an unblemished record. But, certainly that's the goal. And I don't think I look at this really any differently. I think there's, you look back at maybe some games that we let get away. I think, those are great, just, keep in the back of your mind to, hey, let's make sure that, we just take care of business and one game at a time and just try and control as much as we possibly can. And that's why I think really emphasize the defense and the rebounding, and defending without fouling, because those things are things you can control every single night. Not always going to hit every shot you take. Teams are going to mix things up. But I think the better we play on the defensive end of the floor, the better we play just with our activity on the glass on both ends. Our offense will take care of itself. We got kids that can score.
Right, everything, of course, these last 5 games leading up to Moline, and with the way y'all played in Drake, even though you did lose, between playing Drake closely, kind of commanding that game, and the way you just played all season, is everything kind of sky high right now as far as confidence with your thoughts about this team can certainly win the tournament and become a seed in the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, no question. That's our ultimate goal, and we've talked about it. You look at our league, and you probably have, I don't know, a good 6 different teams that, we're kind of all in the same boat of, not being too far out. And I think being able to have proven that we've all had a lot of success this year with a lot of different teams have proven they can beat different, whatever the standings may be. And so, again, I think it's, but I felt that way at the beginning of the year. Ultimately, that's your goal, is to put a team together that you feel like can give you that chance. And then matter of developing and, a lot of things have to come together. But I don't think I feel any differently right now than maybe I did when I was hopeful at the beginning of the year that we could be a team that could compete for the top. And, everybody knows what's on the line when you go to the conference tournament. That's certainly our goal, and just trying to put ourselves in the best position possible and have a lot of confidence heading in. But, I think our kids know that if we do what we're capable of doing and if we play well, that absolutely we could beat any of them. But the same is to be said for some of those teams too. So.
Paige confirmed to us that she's coming back next year. Was wondering if there'd be any senior day activities, and apparently not. But just seeing this young group that's all come together that you had since last year, you have this year, you had a couple in there, and you're gonna have them all next year if they stick around. But just how far they've come from maybe game 1 of the year ago to right now, to where you guys have shown that you're capable of winning a championship, beating any of these teams in the league. Just, you say that you had that confidence, but a lot of development. Just how much has this team grown from day one, and program grow from day one to where they are right now?
Yeah, I think we've had a ton of growth. And I think even if you look at last year's team compared to this year's team, still very different teams, because really, we had 6 kids coming back from last year, but really only 4 that contributed significant minutes. So I think there's, 2 very different teams, but a lot of similarities in that I think both those teams have worked really hard to continue to get better, to understand what we're trying to do, to try to max out individually what they can do, but then also collectively what we can do as a team. But there is something to be said for those 4 returners bringing continuity to what we had and understanding. So I think that's been huge for us. And then who knows, what next year holds. There's always a lot of unknowns, but there's no substitute for experience, and there's no substitute for being able to coach kids for more than 1 year in your program, because I think that's when you can get the most development and growth and understanding and leadership and all those things that go into it. So, certainly it is exciting to think that I think we will have more continuity with next year's group than we've had since I've been here, which is great, because there's no substitute for just kids that have that experience, not only playing wise, which was very minimal when I took over, but then also experience playing together and playing in a familiar system. I think that certainly can go a long way. So,
Coach, are you last one? Are you kind of surprised at how quickly the young core of players you've recruited have kind of caught up and been able to develop as quickly as your nucleus that came back?
I don't know if I'm surprised. I think I was hopeful in recruiting them that they could do that. I mean, to be honest, I think they're doing what I thought they were capable of doing, and that was, bringing in a freshman class that we thought could impact us from the jump. And how that translates and when it translates, you don't always know. I mean, you go through ups and downs. I mean, they're young, they're inexperienced. College is new. I mean, there's a whole lot of things that you have to learn to balance besides just the basketball part. And then you put the basketball part into it. And even if, I tell them, even if things are going really, really well and things are perfect, it's still really, really hard. And it's just hard. I mean, it's a hard transition, but I'm really just pleased with, I think more than anything, we try to recruit, the kids that have the right mentality and the right work ethic and have a little bit of that hunger to want to be really good and then to be coachable and unselfish. And so I think you're looking at a young group of kids that have really done that pretty well. And it's great to see them being rewarded with, opportunities to go out and play and impact and be a huge part of what we're doing right now and the key to us winning basketball games.